What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Spin Fuel's Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's Fresh Build Friday. That's right, we got a brand new coil for you guys to try out today. Everybody's been going nuts over the Mini Volt by Council of Vapor on Instagram, so I felt like, throwing my hat in the ring and trying to build this thing. And I'm going to try to get the most out of this thing. We're going to try to shoot for about 0.7 to 0.8 ohms. That way I can use the full 40 watts, and hopefully the battery lasts me a little bit more than, half an hour. That being said, let's go down to the close-up portion and build it up. Alright guys, I know you're ready to go for this build, so real quick, what we're going to be using today is just regular 24 gauge Kanthal, nothing fancy on that in that department. Of course we have our dinghy atomizer from Flawless. That's what I'm using. Feel free to use, whatever you got. If you have some sort of mini Royal Hunter or, a Derringer or anything like that, that will work and look really phenomenal as well. So, first of all, with our build here, we're just going to take about, 6 inches of wire or so and cut off a little piece. So all we need is about a 6-inch piece. We're only doing a single coil today because this thing likes the higher resistance. So just take your piece of wire. I'm going to be wrapping around a 1/8 inch drill bit, or a 1/8 inch screwdriver rather. And I'm going to do a loose wrap by hand. And we're doing 8 wraps today. I mean, if you have a better way of doing a loose wrap coil, feel free to go for it. If you wrap around screw threads or something like that, feel free to do it your own style. I honestly feel like it doesn't quite matter. I mean, you're shooting for a higher resistance on this coil, so it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but you want it as clean as possible, I guess. So not too bad for a hand-wrapped spaced coil, if I do say so myself. Now I'm just going to straighten out those leads and get it ready to install. One thing that I like to do with these space coils is grab your flat tooth pliers and make sure those leads are nice and straight first of all. But I like to give it a little bit of a 90-degree bend over, or about 45 degrees because you don't want it touching the other wires, and then bend it back a little bit. That way it kind of forces that coil more towards the center. Kind of centers the coil a little bit nicer. I'm just going to clip off the excess wire here. Go ahead and grab your atomizer. And with the screws pre-loosened here, there we go. We're just going to go ahead and install that coil. Just like that. Make sure the coil isn't going to touch the posts or the outside of the deck or anything like that before you tighten it down. Now, I know this is supposed to be a Allen wrench, but I actually don't have an Allen wrench that small. So I find that this screwdriver works. Clip off your excess wire. So now you can just reinsert your drill bit or whatever you wrapped around. Position that coil how you like it. Just make sure it's not going to hit the top cap or anything like that. I usually kind of nudge it over a little bit, try to get as much room as I can on the negative end of the coil here, so I can fit a little bit more wicking material in there. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up and see how it glows. Well, I mean, right there, it's looking pretty good. We're right around 0.7 ohms, which is right around my target area. Would have liked to see this a little bit higher so I don't have to use this much wattage. I am using it at 35 watts, which is going to kill the battery a little bit faster, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied with this build, so let's go ahead and give it some cotton. So I just have a very thin sheet of cotton here. Just going to go ahead and roll just the tip of it And I can already tell I'm going to have a little bit too much, so I'm just going to rip off a little bit of this excess here. You want it just thick enough where you feel like you're going to move that coil, but try not to move it, because you got it just where you want it right now. Right about there. Then just pull it back ever so slightly. Grab our scissors, and I'm going to trim this edge really close, probably right around there. Then I'll leave this end a little bit longer, and I'll show you what we're going to do. Just fluff it up a little bit. Fluffy cotton's the way to go. So with this end here, I'm actually going to pull it between the posts and let it lie almost along the back edge there, where my other coil normally would go. So just like that. And with this edge here, it's going to be pretty tough, but we might be able to tuck some under the coil. It's a little cramped. I mean, this is a very, very, very small build deck we got going on here. Just try not to mess with that coil. That looks pretty good. So that's our final product when it comes to wicking. So today we're going to be using some Killer Custard by Vapetasia. Definitely on the top of my list, right up there with Royalty 2.0 from them. Hope you guys watched that video. Just going to quickly saturate this. And there you go. So let's go ahead and show you guys some vapor production. You know, it may not look like a whole lot, but coming out of this little tiny device here, I think we did a pretty good job. So let's go back to the main screen, have a quick chat about this build, and I'll show you some more vapor. Alright guys, so let's go over some of the finer points of this build. My first category is the heat. Honestly, this is a relatively cool build, definitely not something I'm used to. Normally I build, you know, stuff that's meant for cloud comps and crazy builds like that, super low resistance and all that stuff. This one at 0.8 ohms, 35, 40 watts, this thing absolutely rips, but it's a relatively cool vapor. So if you're a big fan of cool vapor, then this is going to be something that you want to try. And you can even try this on any old mod that you have. You don't have to have a tiny little nano setup like I got here. You can build this in your whatever atomizer. So my next category is the ramp up and ramp down time. Honestly, from when I hit that button to when it actually fires up fully, it's pretty quick. I gotta say, it's about maybe half a second before I get a real good full inhale on it, but plenty good for a good lung inhale. And the airflow is, since it's on the dinghy, I can't change the airflow on it, so I just kind of have to position the airflow in the right spot in order to get the proper amount of air that I like out of this thing. The wicking on it is holding up relatively good. I can get about 10 puffs off of this thing before it goes completely dry. And I kind of attribute that to the extra long little tail that I left on the other side of the coil there, as you saw in the close-ups. So overall, I think it's holding up pretty nicely. Flavor on it is spot on. I get really good flavor on it. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty average, I'd say. Nothing too fancy. I mean, it's no twisted wire coil or anything like that. It's no Clapton or something like that. But I think it's holding up pretty nicely for what it is. My final category tonight is difficulty. Honestly, this is a pretty easy build. Anyone can do it. As you saw, I just wrapped it by hand and spaced them out, cleaned them up a little bit with a screwdriver. So really, anyone can wrap a pretty simple space coil, and you can do it however you want. If you wrap it around a screw or something like that, then go for it. I mean, it's really up to you. That's the beauty of building. So if you have a mod that's like this, I do recommend this build. Definitely try it out for yourself. If you don't, if you have a box mod or like a normal regular box mod, or if you just enjoy a good single coil with cool vapor production, then give it a try as well. So let's give one more final little vapor production shot here, and then we'll sign out. Not too shabby for a little mini mod, if I do say so myself. So that being said, that does it for this video, guys. Don't forget to stay tuned for next week's Fresh Build Friday, where we build a brand new coil for you every single week. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more of my videos. If you want to check out more of my videos, go to spinfuel.com. I have all my stuff up there, as well as Smoke and Joy and Spin Fuel official videos. And as always, vape on!